Hello, welcome. This is Jennifer. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm sharing with you a really easy way to create a frame pop-up card. So the entire front of this card pops up and it gives lots of dimension. This is something you can do without specialty dies and use products you have on hand. But before we get started, I wanted to give you a little message about STAMPtember. Happy STAMPtember. Yep, it's STAMPtember, a whole month dedicated to our love of stamping and card making. Now, STAMPtember is something created by Simon Says Stamp, and that's who hosts it every year. They put a lot of time and effort into a special month with exclusive products, promotions, giveaways, and so much more, especially inspiration. There is a lot of inspiration throughout the month. Now, STAMPtember kicked off with a big release from Simon Says Stamp. I did a video on it and did a bunch of cards with it. Today is September 4th. That means it's time for the collabs to start. Now, collabs are the collaboration stamp sets and often die sets that Simon Says Stamp does with other favorite companies such as Hero Arts, Gina, Fawn, and more. These usually go up at midnight Eastern time. And once they're gone, they're gone. And in the past, they've sold out very quickly. I know Simon Says Stamp tries really hard to kind of guess how many to order, but it's always, pretty hard to do. So if you are interested in collabs, you want to check them out as close to midnight Eastern time as you can. But do know there are some exceptions. There are some that don't go up at midnight, and Simon is usually good about letting you know when they are. Now, as far as a calendar for the collaborations and which companies have collabs on which day, that's never given. That's part of the fun of STAMPtember. There's lots of surprises, and you never know what's next. Now, I know midnight is tough. Midnight Eastern time is really tough for me because I'm usually in bed by 8 or 9. However, keep in mind, and something that I keep in mind, is that midnight Eastern time is really good for a lot of people in other parts of the world, especially over in the West Coast of the US. This is a better time for them, and usually the times for crafty things to happen aren't good for them. So it's only fair, right? So throughout STAMPtember, there will be a new collab stamp set at midnight Eastern time every day, with a few exceptions. And these will sell out quick. That's the summary of all of it. I will have videos for many of these products, but not all, because I only have so many hours in the day. But there will be a lot of inspiration for you. So today, September 4th, is the first collab stamp set, and it is with Fawn. So this is only available on Simon Says Stamp. There's a stamp set and a die set if you're interested, and they will sell out quick. So if you're interested, check it out. But keep in mind, a lot of the inspiration you see this month can be done with a variety of products. So without any more delay, let's get started with the first collab stamp set. Okay, so here we have the Simon Says Stamp Fawn collab called Home for the Pawlidays. It's a 4x6 stamp set, and there are coordinating dies available. This is an adorable set that can be used in many ways along with other Fawn products. I thought I would use it to create a pop-up frame card, and I hope this inspires you to give this technique a try. I'll be sharing more ideas in a video coming out very soon. And remember, even though I'm creating a happy kind of cutesy Christmas card, you could definitely use this pop-up frame card technique with a variety of styles and themes. All right, let's get started by coloring our images. Now, I stamped my images with the Copic friendly black ink on a Copic friendly white cardstock. I heat set that ink just to make sure that it wouldn't bleed, and then I did some Copic coloring of the images. Now, here's the thing. I'm not great with Copic coloring, so I'm not going to bore you with that coloring process, but I will share the colors that I used for the 3 dogs and for the dog house above, in case you're looking for the same color family. I'm not great at coloring, but that's okay. Everybody has their strong suits, and everybody has certain things that they do just to get by with card making. And me, I just did quick coloring. Along with the images from the STAMPtember collab stamp set, I also used the Fawn Winter Bird stamp set. I used that bird at the top of the set. And I also used this Fawn stamp set for that decorated tree at the top center. This is the Christmas before and after stamp set. However, here's the collab stamp set on the left. You really could stick to just the images on that set if you wanted to. I just like to mix and match different sets together to get more life from them. Now, there are coordinating dies available for all of the stamp sets I used today, but I chose to cut them out. Yes, fussy cutting isn't everybody's favorite thing to do, but sometimes I find it therapeutic, and I also like that I'm able to cut up very close to the black outline edge, and that way there isn't a white trim around it. You could use a coordinating dies instead if you prefer, and if you don't like that white trim, you could always color the white trim to be matching to whatever background you use on your card. My card will have a blue background, so I could just color it that blue, but again, I decided to go with the fussy cutting. After stamping and cutting out all of my images, it's time to create the pop-up frame card base. This is easy to do and will create an A2 card. So I have a piece of cardstock here that is 4 1/4 inches by 9 1/2 inches. Before I do any scoring, I thought I would add some inking to it. I wanted darker blue towards the base of my card up to a lighter blue at the top. I'm using Simon Says Stamp saturated ink in the Cadette color. It's a beautiful blue, and I'm applying that towards one edge of this cardstock with a large blending brush. I'm not taking a lot of time to get a good blend. It's just about getting some color down. It really won't matter in the end. I have my Waffle Flower grip mat that's kind of holding my cardstock in place as I apply ink. After I did that blue towards the bottom, again, not taking a lot of care to blend, on the other edge, I'm putting a little bit of Simon Says Stamp white pigment ink. I have a blending brush designated just for this ink because you don't want to contaminate that white ink pad. And I'm putting some white ink here and there, just to give kind of an uneven, cloudy sky look. You could skip all of this and do maybe pattern paper or just solid blue cardstock here, but I felt like that little bit of inking did make a big difference in the end. Now it's time to do some scoring to create that pop-up frame feature. This is easy to do. I'm scoring from one end at 1/4 inch, 1 inch, and 2 inches. Then I will rotate my cardstock and do the same thing from the other end. Now remember, I told you before, this cardstock is 4 1/4 by 9 1/2 inches. And we're doing these score lines at 1/4 inch, 1 inch, and 2 inches from each end. By doing this size and these score lines, we have a pop-up front that will work on an A2 card. An A2 card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Now I'm going to fold along these score lines. Now I do like to take those first 2 score lines on the edges, those little 1/4 inch score lines, and fold those back so you can see they're folded back there. Those little score lines that are 1/4 inch from the edge are what makes this technique different than others I've done in the past. This will allow the front to pop up very nicely and kind of stick out straight or flat, if that makes any sense. You'll see in the completed card. Then I will fold back and forth along the other score lines. And after folding and scoring or like reinforcing those fold lines, we will have this piece here. This is what you're looking for. You can see it's got this funny looking shape. You got those little 1/4 inch flaps sticking out, and it looks like these little folded arms sticking out. That's all you need. This is all you need to create this fun pop-up card design. Now I mentioned this is a frame pop-up card, so we need a frame to go on the front of this card. The frame that I chose to use is from Lawn Fawn. It's an older one called Snow Flurries Backdrop Dies, but really any frame die would work. Now this frame die has an outer edge that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, so it works really well for this particular card. But there are many frame dies like this, or you could create your own. I will give you some other suggestions of frames and dies later in this video if you're looking for something in your own stash. So I die cut 2 of those white frames and glued them together so it's nice and thick. You want this to be sturdy, so I recommend doubling up those frames. While those frames dry together, I like to put something heavy on it. This is a Share Handmade Kindness paperweight. This is a new size, 4x6. The one on the right is the one I've been using for some time. And she also has a 5x7 now available. These are available from Bossy Jossie. She's just a friend of mine. I don't make any money from this. I gave her permission to use the Share Handmade Kindness, and she makes these available, and I love them. I'm glad she has the bigger sizes, and she makes them by hand. I appreciate that so much. I will link to those below if you're interested. But really, anything heavy would work. You could even use a book. All right, back to this. I have our doubled up frame there, and I'm going to glue it on top of another frame die cut that's made from white glitter paper, but I'm rotating it so it's offset. So we get this layered look. So on the front, we have a doubled up white cardstock frame, and behind that, we have a white glitter cardstock frame. So now we have that frame around the front of our card, and we have that blue cardstock backing. We need to create those white hills or snow slopes. For that, I'm using the Lawn Fawn Stitched Hillside border dies. Man, I have used these a lot over the years, and I'm creating 2 hillside slopes, one that's a little bit shorter than the other, and they're both about 5.5 inches wide. The first one will get glued right to the back of our frame. So it'll be glued right behind this, so this will pop out with our frame when the card comes out of the envelope. So I'm putting glue on the back bottom of our frame and then laying the hillside onto it. Now the bigger or taller hillside is going to go on the inside of our card, so inside of the blue. But I'm going to trim a little bit off of it, so it's 5.5 inches wide. I'm trimming a little bit off the side so it better fits inside of those score lines that we created, or the fold lines. I'm putting adhesive on the back of it, and I'll just slide it in between those inside score lines. I decided that hill was a little bit too tall, so I'll slide it down a little bit and then trim off the excess. This is one of the reasons I like to use a liquid adhesive, because I can move it. See how I'm lifting it up and sliding it down a bit? Liquid adhesive gives you that wiggle room time that I think is really important, but it'll dry nice and secure. So I move that hillside down, can trim off the excess, and now we have 2 hillsides, one that's set back and one that will pop up with the frame on the front of our card. Now we can add the frame to the blue piece. I'm putting strong liquid adhesive just along the outside left and right edges. You can see right up against those edges. These edges will get glued onto those little 1/4 inch flaps on the blue. So I like to flatten out the left-hand side and press the left-hand side of the frame down, and flatten out the right-hand side of the blue piece and press the right-hand side of the frame down. And then once you have it there, put something heavy on it while it dries. So the only part of the frame that's connecting to the blue piece is that little bit on the edge on the left and right. By putting something heavy on there just for a couple minutes, we'll make a good connection and everything will stay put. Now, once that's given some time to dry, we can start adding our little critters. You could have added the critter images earlier, but I really like to put the frame pop-up card together first, just so I know where everything will land and what areas will be popped up and what areas won't be. You'll notice that I'm gluing some things onto the back hillside, that's the back inside of the card, and some on the front, up by the frame die cut, so those will pop up. By gluing in the different areas, you get that great dimensional look and really enhances that pop-up feature. So I'm gluing these different doggies down, the dog house, the little tree. These are all from the stamp sets that I showed you earlier. And you can see that by using liquid glue, I can place the little critters in place and then move them until I'm really happy with where they are, and then I'll let them dry. So here we have that pop-up feature. See how much dimension it has and how it flattens very nicely. I do have a few other small little stamped and cut out images that I want to add to this, and I thought I'd mention something. When you cut out a stamped image right up close to the stamp outline, one thing that I like to do is take a black marker and just color the edge of your cardstock so there's not the white edge showing. It's very easy to do with a black marker. You could use a black Copic marker, a Sharpie, anything. That's a trick I learned from my friend Kathy Rakusin, and it gives a nice clean black black edge to your images. So I have these little images. This is a little dog bowl with a candy cane, and I have another little present, and I'll just glue those into some of the empty spaces. I also thought it'd be fun to have some snow falling in the background. I could use little pearls or gems or sequins, but I didn't want to add a lot of bulk. So I used an older Hero Arts Snowflake Confetti die. It's over there on the right. I do believe it's discontinued, but there are many dies out there that create little dots or little circle die cuts, little snowflakes, and so on. I die cut that from some glitter cardstock. This is white glitter cardstock that was actually left over from the white glitter frame that I created. And I am gluing those little glitter paper die cuts into the background. So look at your dies. Oftentimes there's these tiny little dots or snowflakes or hearts or anything that are great to add as accents to your cards. Again, this is made from glitter, so it still has some sparkle, but there's not a lot of bulk to it. So I glued a bunch of these into that blue background and along the walls of this pop-up feature, just so there's that look of snowfall coming down. Now, whenever I use critters on my cards, I like to use a black glaze pen to color the eyes and the nose. It just makes it stand out. Now, black glaze pen, when you get ready to use it, it's good to wipe the tip off. Sometimes there's a little buildup on it when it hasn't been used in a while. So that's what I did on that little scrap paper piece. Then wherever I want to add this shiny black, I kind of dab it on. So I'm not scribbling back and forth, I'm dabbing it on. And I just used it on the noses and the eye of the bird. So if you look closely, you can see it gives a little bit of dimension, but a lot of dark black shine. I also used a clear glaze pen, and the clear glaze pen I'm using just on the Christmas lights on our doghouse and on the tree. Now these are inexpensive pens, and they just add a little bit of shine and fun detail. So there you can see on the Christmas lights on the doghouse and on the tree, it's got a little shine. If you want more dimension, you could use glossy accents instead. All right, so one last thing, we need a sentiment. I have a sentiment that I white heat embossed on a black cardstock strip, and the sentiment is from the same Lawn Fawn STAMPtember set. I'm gluing 2 scraps behind it for added dimension, and then gluing it towards the bottom right on our card. Then I'll take this whole pop-up feature and glue it on the front of a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch white note card. That way we have a place to write a personal message on the inside. And believe it or not, this will all flatten nicely to go into an A2 envelope. And as soon as you take it out, that whole front will pop up, giving dimension, and it'll sit nicely on display. I also thought it'd be fun to use one of the other sentiments from that Lawn Fawn STAMPtember stamp set onto the envelope. This is your reminder to use your stamps on your envelope. You might as well make it match perfectly while you have all of your supplies out. So here I'm stamping it with the Versamark ink, and then I'll white heat emboss, and we'll have a bright white sentiment on this red envelope flap. Okay, so here's our completed card. You can see how much it flattens. It flattens very nicely, will fit nicely into the envelope, but as soon as you take it out, it'll pop up on its own. No specialty dies needed, no extra little tools needed. All that did that pop-up feature was adding those score lines to that blue background. And here's a closer look at everything going on inside of this pop-up scene. So much fun to put this together. But remember, really, you can do any kind of scene you want on this. You could have like a large floral image pop up. Anything goes here. I just really like having that frame around the outside edge, which really pulls that pop-up feature into focus. Before we go, I did want to promise I'll be doing some more ideas with this pop-up frame feature, and they'll be in different card orientations and sizes. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you some other frame dies that would work well for this technique. Here we have a Lawn Fawn Fall Leaves backdrop die. I mentioned Lawn Fawn has a lot of these kind of frame dies that would work. Here's a Spring Flowers version. I know they have these for all different themes and seasons, and there are many other companies that have similar kind of frame designs. I know Hero Arts has quite a few also. And here is the Lawn Fawn Tropical Leaves backdrop die. I like that their frame dies come with additional dies that you can use to decorate the card. And if you do not have any frame dies, remember you could create your own frame. Just cut a piece of cardstock to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches and use any shape die to cut out of the center, giving you a frame. Such as these Hero Arts Scalloped Rectangle Infinity dies, you can use one of the larger ones and cut from a cardstock panel, and you'll have your own custom scallop frame. So there you have it, an easy and fun way to create a framed pop-up card design without needing any specialty tools. If you are interested in the supplies that I used, I have them linked below in my YouTube description, and be sure to stop back for more fun this month of STAMPtember. At the end here, I'll link to a couple other related videos if you're looking for more ideas, and I'll see you again soon with another video. Thanks so much.